Hey, what's going on? My name is Ryan Morgan and I am the founder of the Acquisition Network. And in this presentation, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of Turo versus acquisition automation. So over the last 4 years, I've worked with 18 different products and business models, and I've been just doing an analysis on why you should or should not get into these business models and concepts. So Turo is one where there's definitely real legitimacy and upside, but it is also very difficult unless you hire a team that you can trust. Thankfully, I do have a really good company that I can refer in this space, local here in Scottsdale. But however, if you want to do Turo on your own, I wouldn't recommend it unless you had a lot of experience in this space, because there are a lot of variables that can prevent you from seeing success. So I'm going to quickly go over the pros and cons of Turo and why I recommend acquisition automation versus starting a rental car from scratch, rental car company from scratch. And if you are going to start a company from scratch, hire a company that has a vetted portfolio of cars that you can verify while also getting access to the clients that have purchased the program previously. So Turo automation, so the pro is the brand. Obviously the traffic's already there. So that it also could be a con in some capacity, because you can list your car on Turo and get quick returns, but if you want to hire a return, then you need to create your own traffic, which is time consuming. And I'll actually add that to the con. So let's stay on the pros. Is you've got a nice car, you list it, you can get quick returns immediately. You have a physical asset that actually decreases in value. So you have a physical asset though. And so I just say physical because if you look at any of my other videos, if you're considering starting like an Amazon, Shopify, or YouTube channel, then the idea of having a physical asset is appealing to a lot of business buyers, being able to like touch what you're investing your money into. So that's a pro. Another pro is brand partnerships. So your vehicle fleet creates traffic, and you can partner up with other local businesses and use that to increase awareness about your business model, but also use it to create additional revenue streams for your company. And then I would say one of the biggest pros in the space, if you're in the luxury rental car space, is the clientele. Being able to just service high net worth individuals and use that networking channel as a way to exceed in life in other ways, I think there's a lot of value with that. And so if you're someone who's just liquid, who's like, man, I want to have a fun business, I definitely would. There's definitely a lot of benefits to getting in a rental car space, especially if you like networking, if you like partying, if you like getting in front of people that have money and like to have a good time. Now, let's go over the cons. Like if you're considering doing this on your own, or if you're hiring someone to do it for you. So I would say the biggest con is the liability. Obviously, the insurance is very expensive, especially if you're purchasing luxury vehicles. There's a lot of risk that you're taking by having complete strangers drive a $100,000 asset. They could crash it at any time, and even if your insurance covers the accident, you still have downtime where your car is not making money because it's getting fixed because someone broke it, right? Another con of Turo is credit utilization. You need to have really good credit in order to get these vehicles, and so that usually disqualifies a lot of people. So like out of all the business models that I ever sold, Turo was by far the hardest to get clients for, because I just couldn't find people that had the credit to fit the criteria. So that's going to prevent a lot of people from ever getting into the space, especially if you want to get luxury vehicles, because if you have multiple cars under your name, you need to have good credit or business line to support that. Another con is limited marketplaces. I did quotation weather, right? So doing Turo is not great in every city, right? So if you try to do Turo in Chicago or New York in the winter, there's going to be days where you literally can't, like if you got a Lamborghini, you don't want to have your car being driven in those markets, because that just increases the liability. You can have salt like get on your cars, you got to wash it more often, and this is dangerous, obviously, driving luxury vehicles in inclement weather. So there's limited markets where you can actually do this successfully. Obviously, I live in Scottsdale. This is a great market because it doesn't rain and there's perfect weather all the time. But that also opens you up to more competition, because there are limited cities where you can actually succeed in this space if you want to do this year round. Another con to Turo is depreciation, right? So obviously, the more times you drive around the car, the lower the value of the car is. There is ways to increase the value of the cars by doing custom kits on top of the vehicle and doing branding. And so like I know someone who's really good at Turo, and he has a model where he's able to use this car for 2 to 3 years and then sell it and get about the same value that he got it for. But unless you're really good at being able to do custom kit and like customize the car and make it more valuable, most people are going to deal with depreciation. Right, so thankfully for you, if you're watching the video, I do have someone I could recommend that can help you here in Scottsdale who's really good. He's been doing it for 7 years. Now, if you're not working with the company that I know, one thing that you need to definitely deal with is the transparency. So like, along my experience of working with like 18 companies, I just found in general that most people aren't as transparent as myself, and that's why I created a service that I believe has way more upside and accountability to the clients. So if you were going to hire someone that's not, like I said, not the company that I'm referring here in Scottsdale to do Turo automation, I would personally want to see all of the vehicles, what the cash flow is producing, and have direct access to all the clients that have purchased the service to hold the service provider accountable for delivering to you. Because otherwise they may or may not have the same time, energy, and attention to make sure that your vehicle is profitable compared to the other vehicles on their fleet. And so those are the pros and cons of Turo. And so I want to just go over why I recommend acquisition automation versus starting a Turo company from scratch. Like if you had a few $100,000, I would recommend you use that money to buy a rental car company that's already running, right? And so the company I have here in Scottsdale, like you can actually buy it if you want. They have 20 cars and they're literally open for sale. So instead of you building up a book of business from scratch, you can buy one that's already running. And so we have a service where like, if you wanted to buy a business outside of Turo, you can hire us and we can help you buy it. And what we do is we help find the deal, vet and evaluate the deal. We help you secure financing. So if you don't have the liquidity, we can connect you to private equity groups, SBA, or other financing partners that can help you with that. We also can support you with operations and marketing assistance to help you grow the business after acquiring. Now, the reason why we're not able to do all of this on our own is because we don't have the liquidity to close all the deals. Right now, we have 20 vetted businesses in our pipeline, and the cost to complete all these transactions is $51 million, and we don't have access to that. And so right now, we are raising money for our software so we can increase that deal flow pipeline, which is going to attract more liquid buyers that can close them on an individual basis. But it also allows us to negotiate with private equity groups, the guys that have hundreds of millions of financing. We want to go to them with, instead of having 20 deals, we want to have 2,000 deals with $5 billion in equity available. And that's going to give us more leverage to have them close the transactions faster and more efficiently on behalf of our client base. So we have 2 different services, one where you can hire us and then we find the equity partner, or one where you are the equity partner and you could close the transaction faster. Okay, and so I'll start off with going over the cons of acquisitions if you're not familiar with the space. The cons are it's very competitive, expensive, and time consuming. It's a massive market. There's 75 million companies for sale, 80 trillion in equity available in the United States. But 80% of the businesses listed don't close because there's a gap in the market of connecting motivated sellers to buyers. And that's why we built a mobile application in deal sourcing AI to aggregate the data in a more effective way so that we can deliver these deals to liquid buyers like yourself who could close it on your own, or to private equity groups that have that hundreds of millions in financing and are looking for qualified deal flow. And so the problem in the acquisition market is it's really difficult to buy a business if you're trying to do it all on your own. 96% of people that try to buy a business through a mergers and acquisition course never get a deal done. That's why we created a team that's collectively done over 350 transactions over the last 30 years. We created a team where you can hire us and we help you get that deal done. You get equity and cash flow, and we also get the same. And so you hire us, that allows us to invest more into our software company, increase our staff, increase our deal flow pipeline, and put us in position to complete the entire transaction on our own. I'm going to quickly go over the pros. So one of the big pros of acquisitions is when you acquire a company, you get equity and cash flow. So when that deal is completed, you immediately have an asset that's added to your net worth. So if you acquire a business and you get 10% of a $3 million business, you get $300,000 in equity, and then we also get $300,000. So there's a clear reason for us to complete the transaction, and there's upside for both of us. And so that equity can appreciate in value by us increasing the profitability, increasing the marketing, and generating more revenue. Another pro of acquisitions is that there is so much equity available. There's trillions available in the market, and whoever does the best marketing is going to win. And that's why we created the service. You hire us. That allows us to invest more into marketing, generate more deal flow through our AI, and present those deals to liquid buyers that are looking for opportunities. Another pro is the multiple on the resale. So like when you grow a company, you get a massive multiple for selling it. So for example, if you buy that business at $3 million and you increase it to $9 million, you can attach 3 other $9 million businesses. And instead of selling it for $30 million, you could potentially sell it for $40 to $50 million. And that's why 100% of billionaires have done so through private equity, because there's so much opportunity and upside when buying and selling companies. And so finally, one of the biggest pros with acquisition automation versus any other automation service that I've seen in my experience, and like I said, I have worked with 18 different companies over the last 4 years, is we offer complete transparency on our entire system and process. So we run our company like a publicly traded software business, because that's what we plan on doing. We plan on taking the company public in the next 3 to 5 years. So we offer complete open window on exactly how we're running the entire business. So we have weekly meetings on Monday and Wednesday where we offer transparent reporting on the progress of our AI, our mobile application, and you can actually come on those calls and you can meet me and my team that works for the staff. But also on those calls will be the people that have already purchased the programs, and they're happy to explain to you why they purchased the program, what they've learned since investing, and how the company has developed along the way. If you don't feel comfortable asking them for feedback on the meeting, you can actually download the app and you can message them directly on it. And in the app, we have a feed of over 2,500 recordings of us building out the entire network from scratch. We also give transparent access to our use of funds, our AR report, so you can see the cash flow coming in. And we even have a patent to show exactly what the product is going to be when it's fully developed, and why we're looking for a few more clients and investors to help us take the product to the next level so that we can eventually go public and change the way that people buy and sell businesses worldwide. And so if you're interested in learning how to buy a business but you're not certain how to get started, I made a free training that goes into great detail about how I invested well over $2 million to hire 12 people that have collectively bought and sold 350 companies over the last 30 years. That free training is called How to Buy a Profitable Business Without Doing the Work. And I hope you got great value in this analysis between Turo and acquisition automation. My recommendation is don't start a Turo business from scratch unless you already have previous experience in the rental car space. You have a bunch of luxury vehicles, or you're just like looking at this as a hobby versus a business. Otherwise, if you really want to get into space, I would recommend just buying a rental car company that's already running. That way it drastically reduces your risk and the variables involved, and you can start making money quicker, more efficiently, rather than building up your book, generating the traffic, dealing with competitors, and having to build it all from scratch. So my recommendation is always buy a business that's already running. And if you're interested in learning how you can do this with the support of my team, check out my free training, How to Buy a Profitable Business Without Doing the Work. In that training, you're going to learn how you can hire my team, but also how you can replicate and create your own team to buy as many businesses that you can imagine. So I hope you got great value out of this analysis. And if you're interested in learning more, schedule a free consultation today. The future of doing business is now. Don't get left behind.